Okay, everyone, this is my spoiler review of X-Men the Animated Series Season 1 finale, The Final Decision. This originally came out March 27th, 1993. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll be covering everything X-Men, so if you're a huge X-Men fan, make sure to hit that sub button. It's a new channel, and it'll really help in so many ways. So we see the episode begins directly where we left off, where there is now anti-mutant rallies shown on the news, and this is a response to Senator Kelly being kidnapped by Magneto. And Professor X wants him found as fast as possible to prevent this anti-mutant rhetoric to spread and become a threat, like we see what would happen in Days of Future Past, where the result of something like that and how catastrophic it could be. Now, we get to see Magneto has Kelly on a ship here, and he explains to Kelly that he flew to Washington to see it basically all go down, this attempted assassination. So it was Magneto from the sidelines watching Apocalypse's plan unfold. It's funny watching it, though, because they show him kind of like hanging outside the window where we saw the action last episode with Mystique and Gambit and Rogue, and he was just watching. And he says it's up to me to finish what others have started, and he's about to kill Kelly here, but he has to do a quick monologue first about his childhood trauma, and he's like, never again. And this gives the Sentinel the time to get Kelly. Now, Magneto goes to use magnetism on the Sentinel, and the Sentinel's like, this series of Sentinels are made of plastics, not metals. Your magnetic powers are useless against us. So tough luck for Magneto. And we see he shoots Magneto, and it's the first time we actually see Magneto with his helmet off in this show. He's got the longer hair, and it's really white here. But Magneto's smart, and he says the entire ship is my weapon, so he starts using his magnetism to pull parts of the ship off to hit the Sentinels, get some good shots here, which are really cool, but it's just not enough for him. And this is where the X-Men will find Magneto at the bottom of a pile in the ship, all beat up. There's a lot of blood in this, too, for a kid's show. They showed it from a distance for that reason, but there was a lot, which was interesting. It looked really cool. So now we learn that, of course, it's Trask who sent the Sentinels to rescue Kelly. And Kelly's like, you saved my life. How can I help you? And he's like, I want a presidential order putting Sentinels in charge of controlling mutants. And Kelly's like, all right, I'll have that order as soon as I'm elected president. Now, it's very cool that they convincingly had Kelly say something like this, but by the end of the episode, we'll see he completely turns around, which I really liked. Now we see Master Mold again. He's just popping out these Sentinel babies, and Master Mold turns and is like, I'm giving the orders now. It was very Captain Phillips, look at me, I'm the captain now kind of line. And he's just like, you're gonna remove Kelly's brain and replace it with a computer. And then we see the Sentinels are just racking up all these leaders to do the same thing all over the world. We see one of the leaders is named Kathy Castile. That is actually a model designer on the show, so it's a cool little Easter egg. Now, Rogue is a very 90s line here when Wolverine brings up finding the Sentinels. She's like, where are we supposed to start looking? Senators Are Us? In reference to Toys R Us. Now, what's cool is Storm suggests to find the man that Gambit saw on Genosha, who's in charge of Sentinels. And she says to look inside Gambit's mind. And when X goes, will you let me scan your memories? I love when Gambit's like, you don't go too far back, no? I love when he says no at the end of his sentences. They're the best. And we get an awesome Ghost Rider cameo in his mind. I did not expect that. Like I didn't expect the Punisher cameo an episode ago. So this is really cool how they just dropped those in this show. Now they go to find Gyrick, and I love when they go for Gyrick that Wolverine's just waiting on the Lincoln Memorial for him. And this means a lot too symbolically. I mean, he's literally one of the biggest symbols for equality and human rights and for just causes like the X-Men. So Trask is on speaker here on Gyrick's phone, so he lets the X-Men hear Master Mold's evil plan. But this is where we really see the danger of this too, because Gyrick's like, there's thousands of Sentinels, and Gambit, when they're back at the base, is like, this is a suicide mission, and why are we helping the guy who's anti-mutant? Kelly. But Professor X can look past that. That's the wisdom of Professor X, and say, if they don't, there will be civil war if they do not get Kelly. Now, this is where Magneto wakes up, and he's like, you've lost, Xavier. Peace between mutants and normal humans is only a dream. He says, if you try rescuing Kelly, you'll be throwing your lives away for nothing. So it's interesting because it's nice. It puts doubt in Professor X's mind at this moment, and he even looks to the X-Men like, is he right? And it's just a good moment in X-Men when X-Men's at its best, when you're juggling both philosophies of a Magneto and a Professor X. But Cyclops is like, if someone doesn't stop him, there will be no future worth living in. And Wolverine just goes, we're with you, Psych. Still the best reaction lines in the show. And now we see Jubilee, who's been stuck here as basically the intern. She's like, I'm not a kid anymore. I'm an X-Men. I want to go. She's like, it means more than anything in the world to be this X-Man. And Wolverine's like, yeah, that's what it means to me too. So it actually worked for me here, this like pump up moment, and them all reflecting on that, even getting a Gambit to go with them who was in serious doubt about this plan. So we get to see the whole team together, which was really cool, especially for an alley. That's kind of what you want, right? And they all leave on the Blackbird, and Magneto's like, you're all fools, heroic fools. The brave are always the first to die. Now, I always wonder, though, during this time, does Magneto now, he's at the mansion now by himself. Does he have a cup of coffee, watch some TV in the meantime? What is he up to? Now, Master Mold can detect Blackbird approaching and just wakes up all the Sentinels here. So we're like, okay, here's the big showdown. This is really cool. And Gambit gets a nice moment. When they get there, he drops a card down the elevator shaft and it blows up and it draws the Sentinels out of the mines. And it's so cool they do this plan with the X-Men. It reminds you so much of how effective the early X-Men comics were at this too, with having these plans where everyone has a certain role and it's well thought out. And you see that Rogue, Storm, and Jubilee have to occupy them while the rest of the X-Men go down below and while Professor X is flying above. I love Rogue throws a freaking train car at them and Storm blows wind of them into a spinning tower, which was cool. And Jubilee, it's still fun to see her getting excited over killing one or two of them, especially for the kid angle of the show. And the best moment of this episode is when Professor X is flying the Blackbird shooting at them. He gets hit, is almost about to go down in the ship, and he is saved by Magneto. He's like, did you think I would let you die alone, Xavier? I love this. So I'm a huge Magneto fan. I always get excited when he's on the good side as well and to get a little bit of them kind of working together. And Wolverine here has a great moment in this finale where he's taking on the Sentinels head on in the dark, and he tries to protect Gambit as well, which is huge because they've had a complicated relationship. So it's nice to see them getting closer through this, and it's really awesome action with the lights going on and off. And it's a very video game-esque action with Wolverine, which I thought was great, and him jumping over the lasers. So we see Trask here, and he's talking to Master Mold, and he's like, you can't make me do this. You were designed to protect humans from mutants. And Master Mold's just like, that is not logical. Mutants are human. And his reaction with the crash zoom on his face for Trask was just like, like just thinking that hurts him. And then Master Mold says, therefore humans must be protected from themselves. So it kind of breaks down the philosophy of the Sentinels and why they're doing what they're doing in their programming, which I thought was really cool. And then it all backfires on Trask. And Trask is just like, this is all my fault. And he's like, F it, I'm gonna blow up this propane gas line. Not even give Cyclops or Jean a warning, or Kelly, but they get Kelly out, and Cyclops is like, I'm gonna get Gambit and Wolverine. I'm not leaving anyone else behind this time, which was great, because this is a callback to episode 1, where he felt guilt over leaving behind Beast and Morph. I also love to see Magneto got to split the train cars that Rogue was stuck between, and he gets this incredible moment where he puts his shield around Storm, Jubilee, and Rogue. I thought that was so cool to see him working with the X-Men like that. Now, what was really also clever was the Sentinels sense Master Mold is in danger, and it actually leads them to their doom because they retreat to go to him, and it's right into the explosion that is down below. So I thought that was an awesome way to take him out. And everyone gets out, and then Rogue embraces Gambit, which was a nice moment and payoff, and kisses her own hand when she kisses him, which was great because she doesn't want to hurt him. What was also awesome and arguably the best moment too is Master Mold comes out for one last stand, but Professor X comes with the plane with explosives in it, and it was really cool to see right from the side Magneto flying next to him and then protecting him with the shield. And then before the ship's about to go in the Sentinel, it's really cool. Professor X just ejects himself from the Blackbird. I thought that was sick. And Magneto has a good moment with Xavier here. He's like, good luck to you, Xavier. Now we are even, but we shall meet again. So really just cool stuff, and I'm happy this was more of the storyline of Magneto and Professor X for the first time in this show. We see them working together. But of course, it's going to be complicated always and more to come. So I really like that and how they used him to fight against Master Mold. And we see Kelly is a new man. He's running for president on not oppressing mutants. So that came full circle the other way around, which was nice. And then Beast is there again. I always forget he even exists in the show. And he's reading his boy Shakespeare and finally has his justice because Kelly releases him from prison. He got out the right way he wanted to get out. It really is an excellent payoff for the Beast storyline that I've complained about how he's stuck in prison like the whole season, but at least the end was really good. It doesn't change my mind about that, but it did bring an awesome payoff, so that was satisfying. I do wish we got to see more Beast in this first season, though. Now, Cyclops proposes to Jean, and she's like, if we have children, they will all be mutants. They'll face same problems we have all their lives. But Cyclops is like not worried about it. Looks like they're gonna get married, so that's a cliffhanger in its own way. And then the big cliffhanger and an awesome season cliffhanger as we see Mr. Sinister is watching them on the screen. We hear his evil laugh. Really exciting. I love how they set up the next season's villain here. So overall, this is just how you do a season finale. I was really impressed by it. It has some really clever action. I love we get to see there's really good plans here by the X-Men. Not just the X-Men, but also Professor X himself in that plan with the Sentinel and that Magneto helped at the end of the day. Really, really good. And we get a turnaround for Robert Kelly. We get payoff for the Beast story. We get payoff for the guilt that Cyclops felt about leaving Morph and Beast behind. And we get payoff, too, with Rogue and Gambit getting closer here. So it's really cool. I feel like they definitely stuck the landing for first season while making you excited for the next season. So overall, I'm going to give this episode an 8.8. Nothing really I had problems with here. It still wasn't my favorite episode of all time of this show so far, but still really good. And really just because it's such a strong finale and how you kind of just want to close the season out and set up another one at the same time. And it's impressive because it's all done in 20 minutes. So really holds up well. Let me know what you thought of this episode down below. I love to hear your thoughts. I read every comment. I try to respond as many as I can. Make sure to subscribe. Tomorrow, you'll start seeing reviews for season 2. So we're going to start with that and keep going. So please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.